Hello, all, and welcome back to the fourth and final episode of Beyond the Veil, our very own podcast series organized by Bluebird Wellbeing. It may be the last, but definitely not the least. We will be coming back with a season two for our podcast and keep spreading and advocating for mental health awareness. Our topic of discussion for today is on a mental illness that is very well known, but it is still heavily misunderstood by many, called borderline personality disorder, or BPD. Now, let's introduce our guest for today. For today's episode, it's Miss Deepika Dahima, who is a counseling psychologist and founder of her own organization, Yellow Turquoise. So, hello, Deepika, and welcome to Beyond the Veil. So, how are you today? I hope you're well.
Thank you, To, for this wonderful welcome. I was really looking forward to this podcast. Yes, I'm good. Tell me something about you. How are you feeling today?
I am feeling very good. I'm feeling great. I'm very excited because this is our final podcast of our first season, and I can't wait to talk about this borderline personality disorder. But more importantly, I first want to know about you and your organization. Firstly, why do you name it Yellow Turquoise? And secondly, what is the organization about?
Thank you for this question, To. I would love to answer this one because wherever I connect to youth and wherever I've gone for my talks to various organizations, universities, colleges, this is the first question. They get intrigued by the logo of the organization, Yellow Turquoise, and then they ask me why have I named it. Yes, there is a very powerful answer to this, and it is why because I believe in the power of chakras. I believe how our energies make us and how they inhibit us and our growth. So, when I wanted to found my own organization on mental and holistic well being, I wanted to combine spirituality with psychology, and there came yellow turquoise. Yellow, being the bud of the lotus, signifies the solar chakra, the powerhouse of all humans, filled with hope, power, success, hard work, and so much to achieve, so much to excel. On the other hand, the turquoise petals signify the throat chakra, which stands for communication, impactful, noteworthy, expressive communication that holds us or liberates us.
Mm,
That
wow.
is the whole motto of naming a mental well-being organization as yellow turquoise.
Oh my goodness. There is so much spiritual depth behind the name. Like just amazing. It is an amazing name, like of the organization, like how you found. And let's talk more about like what was the purpose, like what was your mission of of the organization? Like what do you do? Like what work have you done with Yellow Turquoise?
As you just mentioned that I've been a counseling psychologist for the past 10 years. So I
Mm,
had first 5 years of my journey in the clinical backdrop and the last 5 years in schools, in various schools as a counseling psychologist, where I worked with more than 5,000 students. And I discovered that there is so much you can help them with. There is so much the youth has, which is untapped. And I wanted to help them with their emotions, with their personalities, with their relationships, with their communication, with their journey of self discovery. And that is where I wanted to have my own organization and started working in the sector of mental health independently,
mm,
because working with schools, working with hospitals has been a lovely part of my journey. But this time, when I connect to youth, I take in person sessions, I take workshops on various issues like relationships, personality development, self discovery, communication, careers, so much under the umbrella. I feel really happy about it, and the way it changes them qualitatively has been my gratifying factor and gratifying force that kept me going every day.
Wow, wow. That is that is just amazing work that you've done. And I think it's going to be so inspiring to everyone listening on this podcast, especially the youth who are really passionate about mental health, really passionate about psychology, who want to also help, the people around them, their environment. Like, would you agree that you would consider yourself an inspiration?
I would love to take this credit from you, too, because I
Oh,
think inspiration is always when somebody else feels inspired from you.
um,
I have always felt inspired from my mentors who've nurtured me, who've encouraged me to be what I am today. So if students feel encouraged with my journey and with my rapport and connect with them, that is my honor, and I would definitely like to take it. Only when students and you tell me that yes, you take me as an inspiration, that's where I accept it wholeheartedly.
oh my, okay. Well, thank you so much for that. So now we're going to move on to the main topic, the main theme of this podcast episode, borderline personality disorder. So firstly, what can you tell us about BPD? Like, what do the majority think when they hear the word like borderline personality disorder? Like, is there a schema for it? Like, so could you please tell us what's BPD?
All right. Borderline personality disorder is a mental disorder characterized by unstable moods, behavior, and relationships. It is it impacts the way you think and feel about yourself and others, causing problems in everyday functioning. It includes distorted self image, difficulty in managing emotions and behavior, and a pattern of unstable relationships. Okay, a person with borderline personality disorder can have intense fear of abandonment or instability that leaves his relationships in a very dicey situation. Each time he tries to form a relationship, some of the other fears come to him and the relationship goes for a toss. Also, his anger, impulsiveness, and frequent mood swings may push others away from him, and he may not be able to have loving and lasting relationships. Another chief characteristics of this disorder is that it begins at early childhood, and the condition seems to worsen as the child grows into young adulthood and even further.
Now, this condition worsening, is it when they don't seek treatment as they find the first early symptoms? Like, could that be a result? Like, because they don't seek treatment earlier, their condition worsens. Could you say that?
Yes, because I feel that even if you are a responsible and a caring parent, you have to understand the journey of the child as the child is.
Mm,
And if you feel that the child is uh, fearing something, or is he becoming really impulsive, aggressive every passing day, you should seek help. You should let the child feel that he has a space to express.
mm,
you know he has to come up and share his feelings about what exactly he feels, not to really infer something as a parent, but to let the child decide and take him for a professional help, so that even parents are confirmed that how the child's progress and development has to be taken care of.
yes. That, yeah, see, so treatment is also important in helping alleviate all mental health conditions that you have. We have reiterated this message in our past episodes, and we will continue to reiterate this message also, which is that if you have a mental health condition, please go seek treatment, especially before it becomes severe, so that you can also still live a happy life like they're all like the rest of us. So we did some research before this. So you also brought up about the fear of abandonment, the relationships. We have also made at BBW, we have made several content regarding personality disorders. So we have found that people suffer from BPD, they generally have unstable life, they have stress, they suffer from confusion, they also act more impulsively, they rapidly make big decisions, fear of abandonment, types of relationships. They also have, they might also feel a feeling of emptiness. So do you think, like what I've said, do you think this is accurate? because you, as a counseling psychologist, I'm sure that you have treated several patients who had BPD or similar personality disorders. So do you think what I have described is accurate, like in what you have found, like as in symptoms?
It is too very close to what you say. I would like to add on certain points that along with the intense fear of abandonment and even going to extreme measures to avoid someone's separation or rejection, there's a pattern of unstable, intense relationships, such as one moment a person would be idealizing something, and then the other moment, suddenly the person would stop believing and will not even care about the other person. There are rapid changes in self identity and self image that includes shifting of goals, values, and there's periods of stress related paranoia, loss of contact with reality, impulsive, risky behavior, reckless driving, binge eating, drug abuse, sabotaging success by quitting a good job, ending a very fruitful relationship suddenly without a closure. Even suicidal threats and self harm can accompany this disorder. Wide mood swings lasting from few hours to few days can include intense irritability, shame, anxiety, even happiness, and ongoing feelings of emptiness, which are inappropriate, along with intense anger, such as frequently losing your anger, being sarcastic or bitter to people around, having physical fights. All this is what really contributes to borderline personality disorder as a sum total.
Mm, right. So, also, like, have you ever seen any forms of entertainment that feature BPD, like that have featured patients with BPD or something, like movies or any other like
I
TV
have
shows?
personally, I have personally had clients of of borderline personality disorder, and I have dealt with them. There is intense use of psychotherapy while treating
Oh,
clients with borderline personality disorder, because the roots of borderline personality disorder lie in their childhood, where they face abuse, where they face neglect, where they face trauma, where they face intense separation from one of the parents, probably, or they face an intense social situation which really regresses their development.
mm,
So all this comes from their childhood, and that is why psychotherapy has been really effective with clients of borderline personality disorder.
right. So, um, having this type of mental illness and like as you said, like from early childhood, like it could develop, but then as we go into adulthood, like the condition could worsen, like it can affect different parts of our lives, aspects of our daily life, from school to work to relationships. So could you please tell us, like, if a person with borderline personality disorder, right, does not seek treatment at all, or maybe even refuse to seek treatment, like what could be the complications of it? And like, what could be the consequences of it in the future? Like, yeah, is there anything like what could happen?
If a person with borderline personality disorder doesn't opt for treatment or help or professional assistance, whatever you call it, then it can damage many areas of his or her life. Impact It can negatively impact intimate relationships, jobs, schools, social activities, self image, resulting in repeated job changes or losses, not completing the education, multiple legal issues, conflict filled relationships, marital stress, even divorce, self injury, frequent hospitalizations, involvement in abusive behaviors and relationships, unplanned diseases, risky accidents, physical fights, attempt to a suicide,
Mm,
and it borderline personality disorder, if left untreated, could come with addition to depression, anxiety disorder, eating disorder, substance abuse, bipolar disorder,
mm.
even PTSD and ADHD.
Oh,
So that's how it affects you.
right. So it could have. dire consequences if you do not seek out treatment at all. Um,
Absolutely.
right. So I kind of did a 180-degree reverse because I was also supposed to ask what are the causes or like what are the factors that could facilitate, but I asked consequences first. So now I'm going to pitch you that question. So what are the causes of BPD? Like, is it genetic? Since you sometimes it typically starts from early childhood. And then what are the factors like around like the social environment or something like around a person with BPD, and that could facilitate their condition. So yeah.
Along with the, like we just mentioned, along with childhood factors of child abuse, child neglect, trauma, separation in relationships, all that environmental factors, it could be genetics and even brain abnormalities. When we talk of genetics, it is some studies actually point out that personality disorders are inherited from one of the parents, and they are strongly associated with the further mental health issues. And if you are genetically loaded with a disorder, then you are more at the risk of developing it at a very early age.
Mm,
Also, brain abnormalities, because some researchers show that certain areas of brain involving emotion, impulsivity, aggression, the chemical changes that help regulate mood, such as serotonin, may not function properly, that may cause a borderline personality disorder.
mm. Wow. So it could be biological, genetic. It could also be social,
Environmental, yes,
environmental, right? So there are
absolutely.
several factors. Now, also as part of our research, we have found that people with BPD, they tend to get discouraged. Like they believe that they won't ever heal or that they'll never feel better. So with this, I have, well, two questions. Firstly, is this feeling of discouragement, is it a normal thing to feel? And secondly, like, is this feeling of discouragement, does this feel like, is this right? Like, can people with BPD, can they ever feel better? So yeah, I have these two questions, right? Mm,
Thank you, To. I'll answer the first one first. That why do they feel low and why do they lose hope? Because borderline personality disorder takes a lot of time. Okay, there's a special whole steps to its treatment, because one is going to be a detailed interview with the mental health provider, then it's going to be psychological evaluations, and then medical history and examination, then discussion of signs and symptoms over the intensity of signs and symptoms. And when you actually start the treatment with psychotherapy, along with if medications are required, then it really goes on for a long period of time,
mm,
because the fundamental treatment for this approach revolves around changing the concept and schema of self.
uh,
So, when you are focused on changing yourself, changing the improving on your improvement areas and banking on your strengths to build yourself, it is not a small job. It's a mammoth task, and it requires a lot of time. It is time consuming, and it requires a lot of efforts from the client side, because if you talk of psychotherapy, then you have to go in so much of details about your own childhood experiences, sometimes reliving them while you're narrating it to the therapist, and then acceptance, willpower, intent, willingness, all this forms pillars of your changes and your treatment for a borderline personality disorders, right? So that's
right.
how people tend to lose hope, because recovery does take time. It is an intense work and it takes time. So in that way, people do feel discouraged. People do feel that the changes are very minimal, and minimal changes are taking a lot of time and effort. So they start to feel discouraged. But if they have that trust for therapist, if they have that trust for their therapist, as well as if they trust the process, that they are in the right hands, and the journey will come out to be fruitful for them, then pulling them every step willingly to change is not a big problem. But yes, when you take that first step, reaching to the 10th step, those 9 steps in the initial are difficult for every client. So they should not feel discouraged about it. Rather, they should feel encouraged that at least they were lucky to have the right assistance, and they should trust the assistance and move forward for a better future, a better meaningful life that they can genuinely create for themselves. They should trust the process, they should trust their strengths, trust themselves, and move forward. Do not give up. That's a urge, that's a request from me to each one of you there. Whatever your hurdles are, whatever your obstacles are, please do not give up.
Right. Please do not give up. Yeah, yeah. Also, also for mental health treatment, it applies to almost everywhere. And when you're trying to reach a goal, don't give up. And same thing with mental health treatment. The goal is to feel better. So, over the years, we have not really how do you, understood what BPD is like. As I've said to you, even like before this podcast started, like not everyone knows what BPD is. Like everyone knows the conditions, anxiety, depression, because it's commonly depicted in media, in entertainment, but it is not uh, personality disorders in general. They are not really depicted, and so like it's not really popular. So my question is, how do we, spread awareness about BPD? How do we spread awareness about personality disorders? I mean, other than what we're doing right now in this podcast, this is also a way of spreading awareness about it. But what are other ways that listeners right here today can also spread awareness about BPD?
There are 16 personality disorders to answer your question, and every personality disorder has its own subtypes as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we are talking about borderline personality disorder, there is a paranoid, schizoid, schizotypal, dissocial, emotionally unstable, histrionic, narcissistic, anxious, dependent, and a narcissist. So
Mm.
when we talk about all these personality disorders, it's tough because it's not the mainstream talk that we do.
Yeah.
That's why understanding that somebody spreading awareness about us is also difficult for people to understand.
Mm.
You're doing a great job, Toe. Bluebird Wellbeing and you have actually brought so many topics to the surface, which will be a food for thought for so many listeners. Because absolutely, when you feel that you're going through something, checking on a professional for help and understanding what exactly that glitch is, that gap is very, very important. And then educating your friends, your family about it. Once you are confirmed, not only Google, but professional help. When once you know that, okay, this is the issue that I'm going through and this is the solution to it, then spreading awareness about it to your friends, to your families, is a great task. Through YouTube channels, through reels, through podcasts, through workshops, through uh, classes, anywhere, whatever suits. Having group discussions.
Right. Yeah.
So
Those
I
are.
think mental health should not be seen as a service, it should be seen as a lifestyle. Like if you want to sit comfortably to do your work, right? Some of us prefer a sofa, some of us prefer a beanbag, some of us would prefer our bed, some of us would prefer a you know a specific chair to sit and work. Similarly, mental health is a lifestyle. You have to feel comfortable mentally to be productive mentally, to be progressive mentally, to be relatable mentally. So I think it should not be taken as a service, rather it should be taken as a lifestyle to actually spread awareness to every strata and stage of people.
Sorry, it's unconventional to clap, but like I really love your message there. Right, it's true. Mental health, it should be a lifestyle. It shouldn't just be something. Oh, hello. Okay, sorry. um
Yes.
yeah, so it shouldn't just be something that we are how do you like forced to do, like, oh, mental health, apparently we should spread awareness, we should like also we should push other people. No, it should be something that we adopt, and it should be something that we feel comfortable with, and then as well as to try and find comfort in ourselves. So
Absolutely. We
yeah.
have to welcome the fact that somebody is thinking about their mental health. We don't have to question, we have to encourage.
Mm. So and my final question for this podcast is, how do we help people actually suffering from BPD? Like, how do we feel them included, like in society, so that they don't, as you said, they feel the fear of abandonment, they have issues with forming relationships. So how do we make them feel included, and how do we essentially make friends with them, be socially comfortable with them, you know
I would like to state something here too, that inclusivity is not a function, it's a
Mm,
choice.
mm,
Letting somebody feel inclusive of any group you are a part of is your choice, your endeavor, and your behavior. So, when we really want to make anyone suffering from any mental health issue feel included, feel inclusive of the group we are in, the first step is to not judge them, to not tag them,
mm,
to not ask them, oh, what is your problem? Rather, stay with them, stick to them, and you will discover whatever it is. Like friendship is a journey, relationship is a
mm.
journey, mental health is a journey.
Right,
You
right,
need
that's
to
true.
discover other people's journey along with them. You do
Mm,
not have to ask the destination first and then start the journey together. That's not how it goes.
yeah.
So you don't have to tag them, you don't have to judge them, you don't have to have biased thoughts about them, or you don't have to pass certain comments with them, or you don't have to give them unwanted advice.
Mm,
But very subtly tell them that I'm there. I'm there if you need help.
mm,
I'm there to probably help you to reach out to a professional help. I can be a good mediator. I can help you to understand yourself as a container to vent out your emotions.
mm,
If you're feeling stuck, I can listen to you. If you need clarity, I can help you to go to a professional help, right?
mm.
That is how you make the other person feel inclusive.
Yeah. Yes, right. So there, right there, you conveyed a very, very helpful message. There has been several messages in this episode. If you have been listening until this, we have put out like don't give up, and inclusivity is a choice. All of this, like it all brings together to how do we take care of ourselves, number one, and like how do we take care, and mental health should also be one of your priorities, along with other aspects of health, as well as how do we help others who are going through different journeys, but still, even though they're different from you, they're still going through their own like hardships, they're going through their own struggles, and how do you support each other? So all of this has been tackled in this episode. So finally, I do you have any message to our viewers? Would you like to give any message, Deepika?
Yes, definitely. I would like to tell each one of you that make mental health your lifestyle. Stay concerned of your mental health and your near and dear ones. Inspire them to begin. Believe, energize, grow, inspire, and nurture them every day. Don't give them a frame. Don't give them colors. Give them a canvas. Let them paint their self, whatever, whichever way they want. Don't hold them. Help them to fly. Liberate them and see what happens. Letting a bird fly is your strength. Holding the bird in a cage just because you admire the beauty is not what the bird's happiness is, and not what makes you happy as well. So realize what is your joy. Realize your triggers to joy. Realize your triggers to sadness, cultivate joy, and let sadness go. Work on the art of letting go.
Right. Oh my God. That okay, that was really inspirational coming from you. I was just listening here like very intently and I was just, oh my God, like the messages that you've just said. I hope everyone listened to that really carefully because that was a really helpful, great message to everyone out there